Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We are here with Hellenic. We are going to have a weekly webinar talking about really important subjects for business. Hellenic, she will introduce herself. She will do it much better. Hello, Hellenic. How are you?
Hello, Gemma. Very happy to be here. Hi, everyone watching. Thank you very much for inviting me and collaborating with me to bring this to people. I think it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, thank you, Hellenic, for being here. I'm happy to have you here. And how is everything there in Cyprus? Everything good?
Yeah, Cyprus has been nice and sunny today, and we've had some weird weather, I'm sure, like many places in the world, but it's a really great day, and I'm happy to be here near the sea.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm jealous because I'm in the Netherlands and here is really cold. But well, what can I
Yeah,
say?
I believe it was snowing, so yeah, it was
Yeah,
it was
yesterday.
a nice change of weather. You have the snow and I have the sun. Yeah.
Yes. Well, we had everything, in the Netherlands. It was sunny in the morning, then it was snowing, then it was raining, then windy, sunny again. So we have everything. And well. So,
Yeah.
well, Lenny, can you tell a little about your background so then the people know why we are doing this
Yes,
together
sure.
and what can you bring to the table?
Yes, I think it's always lovely to collaborate with people that have a similar passion for their work. And of course, for me, I'm in a very different field to you, Gem, and I love what you're doing because I always need people like you and I always listen to people like you in my career. But as a clinical psychologist for 23 years, I ran a practice and was really understanding many things about human behavior, learning a lot about myself, about what makes people more productive, how can we be happier, what makes us more successful, what is success really. And after the experience, I realized it's really important to understand the deeper areas of the mind, so I went into some research on neuroscience and really became a lot more aware of performance and productivity. And so now I call myself a peak performance strategist. I help all kinds of people really reach their best version of themselves, but more than this is to actually support people to become really powerful leaders in whatever space of work they're busy in, because we have to lead our own lives. First of all, we have to be our own self-led people. And then many people influence everyone else, even if it's your family or your partner or maybe a whole big organization. So now I'm really interested in supporting leaders develop the skills and the wisdom that's needed for this uncertain time in history that we're all facing. And of course, it's such an interesting time for everybody now, also because we are all in a lot of uncertainty, and technology is one of our amazing tools that we have. And I think most of our talks are going to be a little bit more around how do we understand the world of technology and human behavior and how to optimize ourselves when we are relating to technology and when we use it just a little bit, but also if we're very skilled in technology, how can we actually still take care of ourselves and live a better life?
So, really interesting and really needed what you do
Yeah, yeah,
in most
I
of those
think so.
days.
And
Yes.
it's a nice connection with you then, because we also have such different expertise areas and we can learn also a lot from each other. So I recommend that to all of you out there listening. Collaborate with people that do something very different to you also, as well as people that do something really similar, because it's a good way to keep yourself fresh and learning new things. Very important skill for us to learn.
Yeah, and move forward because then sometimes there are things that you don't do by yourself, but if you do it with someone, then you do it and you can create great things. Collaborate.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally
You
agree.
learn a lot about yourself and about what's valuable that you can offer, and I think it's very important for us to keep looking at ways to feel the positive things in life, because there are lots of things that are very challenging right now. So it's good to collaborate with people. You get some energy, get some support, and keep developing yourself.
And today we are going to talk about work-life balance. So every week we are going to talk about one subject, but as Eleni said, all of them are going to be related. Some of them more for the psychological part, some of them more for the marketing and communication. So then it's going to be a combination, but today is work-life balance. And the Hellenic is the expert here. So can you tell what three things are the key in the work-life balance for you?
Yeah, this was the subject we wanted to start off with because I think for many of us, we are all experienced now in what lockdown does to our mental, emotional, and social health. Like we've all been asked to socially distance by now, no matter which country you live in. We've been wearing masks, sometimes full time in some places. And of course, when it
Yes.
comes to really balancing your life and your work, there's so many things we have to manage. And now, when we are working and living in the same place, this is even more complicated. For some people, it's very convenient and it might be comfortable, but there does come a time, no matter who you are, where it's maddening. And I think that's very normal and natural. So, what's very important for us in life work balance is to keep our minds very properly stimulated and properly relaxed. And we need to do both of those things. The other thing is to make sure that your heart is happy and that your heart is also relaxed. So we talk about heart rate and we talk about relaxed heart rate. So that's when your heart is beating regularly and happily. And there's certain thoughts you think, certain feelings you feel, and certain things you do that can make your heart race happily or not so
Yes.
happily. And then many things that you also end up doing that can actually make your heart really sore. And if you do too many of those things over time, of course, you can get an illness and you can actually be very sick. So in your heart. So it's really important to take care of the heart health as well. The last one I want to talk about is the stomach. There's a lot of new science now about the gut, the intestine,
Yes.
and how connected actually the gut is to the mind, to the brain. And then, of course, the brain is also then connected to the heart. So when it comes to gut health, we have to be very careful what we put in our bodies because there's a lot of processed food in the world. There's a lot of water that's not optimal. It's not in the best condition, which means we can't filtrate our kidneys properly and we can't hydrate the body properly. When we're very stressed, the brain actually needs a lot more water. So we have to consider that all these three things I just mentioned work together because we actually have now also some neuroscience pointing to the fact that when your heart and your head are working together and they are grateful, when you're thinking that you're lucky or thankful about something, and in your heart you feel appreciation, you have what's called coherence, heart and head coherence. And this means that you are in the zone of a more relaxed state. So, as many things around you now that you might be wanting to complain about, I want to encourage you to rather start to think about all the things that you are grateful for. I know many of you know about gratefulness already, but I'm now giving you the science on why it's important for your life work balance. Because if you don't pass enough of this through your body every day, your heart and your head disconnect and they get unhappy, basically. Your heart gets unhappy and your mind gets stressed. So you kind of go into this like what we call in psychology the beta brainwave frequency, which is too much thinking, can often be a lot of anxiety, and can be very distressing. So we have to manage that in life, especially in times where there's uncertainty, when you don't know what is expected of you from work, or when someone's really unhappy in your house. Many things affect our mental stability and our emotional stability. But now, when I explain also that the brain is connected to the gut, you can see then that all of these are working together all the time because we have certain gray cells in the brain. We call it gray matter. And it's been found recently that we have the same kind of cells in our stomach lining, which means that our gut is also a kind of brain. It means that we know what's good for us. And so when you feel that pit in your stomach, or when you feel really a sinking feeling in your stomach and you think, oh, that could be from worry. That's why you can't afford to think too many of these stressful thoughts or let your work-life balance go out of kilter, out of good harmony because you pass too much bad thinking or negative thinking or even worry thinking because it affects your stomach. And when it affects your stomach, it means you won't digest well. It means you will drop the amount of serotonin you absorb, which is a very important chemical for the brain, which is needed to keep us happy. And it works in reverse as well. So if you're not happy enough, you can't digest properly. And when you don't digest properly, you're not actually able to be happy enough. So all these three things we have to take care of. So my recommendation is that you find about 5 minutes a day, if you can't manage more, where you get into nature and you think about what I'm saying today, that your heart, head, and your stomach come together in a connection, and you create a thought that reminds you how grateful you are. You feel the appreciation, and then you relax your stomach. And you do this regularly. When you're walking, you can do it. You can do it when you're sitting at your desk. You just tune in. You don't need even 5 minutes. You can just do it for 1 minute and do this like 1 minute little body meditation, which gets you into a much more present state of mind. All that talk about mindfulness, but also connects your energy system in your body to just align, center, and calm down. The more you do this, the more you won't get so worried anymore. The more you'll be able to really just look at the things more realistically, more calmly, more logically, and actually be a little bit more grateful. And once you have that gratefulness increasing, you'll start to attract many more perceptions. The brain is an amazing thing. When you start to think a certain thing, that's where your attention goes. So when you start to bring more of that in, you'll start to notice more the things that are actually positive, the things that are helping you, the things that are helpful, the people that are arriving, the opportunities you have, the small little things in the day that actually made a difference to you, that made you smile. You just need a few of those, and then you're on a good wave. Once you're on a good wave, you're building more serotonin, and you're managing to deal with the stress in your life way differently to how you might have been before. So that's one simple tip for us today.
Yeah, that's really important. And what you say, it's like a wheel. When you start feeling better, you start feeling better, and you are going better and
Exactly.
better. True.
Yeah, you've seen that too. Like a wheel is a perfect way to describe it, Giver. I think it's a momentum that also when your car is driving and the wheels are spinning, you start to get some little speed, so it gets easier after a while too. Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
that's so. And you told me before about the 15%. Can you explain what
Yeah,
it is?
I love that when I actually read about it, because it made me realize that my job as a clinical psychologist is going to be really useful to a lot of people. But also it was lovely to read it, because I thought it's so powerful to know this before, because we can now actually let people know that actually the BBC did an investigation on the effects of lockdown on people's mental and emotional state. And unfortunately, there's a prediction that 15% of people are going to struggle with mental health problems in the future after lockdowns as much as 15%. So that means that 15% of people are going to have mental health problem more than what we had in the past. So it means mental health and emotional health problems are increasing by 15% after lockdowns are finished. Now, knowing that, we can do something about it, because if that's the prediction, then it's telling us that in some small way, we are all okay enough to manage this lockdown with whatever we have available, but 15% of us are not. So if you are in a vulnerable category, or if you've got a pre-existing condition, or if you have anxiety or depression, or something really hectic happened to you before the lockdown started to happen, I want you to really listen to this, because it means that if you are not getting support right now, it's very possible that after you come out of lockdown, you might just feel too stressed. So why don't you just rather reach out, find someone that can really listen to you and where you are, and start asking them to help you to get some support. That's my first piece of advice to anybody that has a pre-existing condition or had something really stressful, traumatic happen before all of this has been going on. And by that, I mean in February, January of last year, 2020, if you were struggling with something, and or something started to happen in your personal life that made you struggle over and beyond everything that's been going on in the world, this is definitely something to think about doing, is reaching out for some help. Whatever the reasons are that you haven't done it, doesn't really matter. What matters is actually doing it now. For the rest of us that haven't had a pre-existing condition or something traumatic happen, still, I want to suggest to you that if you're struggling, or if you find yourself not managing to build your little routine at home, find a way to feel a bit grateful every now and again with the first tips that we were talking about, I want to also suggest to you that you reach out and speak to somebody that you really admire and trust and ask them for help to find a professional that can help you. If money is an issue, I think it's important for you to know that there are many people that are working what we call pro bono or supporting with cheaper prices. I'm one of them. And there's also people that work in groups, and that can be very helpful for you. So maybe you can look for a support group or a place where you can go and talk about what's stressing you out. Because if we can take the number of 15% down to even half, 7%, by getting preventative about our mental, emotional health, we can actually do something fantastic for the world, because we all need to be contributing to a better world right now. And that requires us to be working on our stuff, looking and reflecting on things that are important during this time, separating your priorities from what's not really important, becoming a lot wiser about where you want to spend your energy and why, And if that's bringing you down, or if you've got stuff that's been bringing you down before, you can't do that work. If you can get some, then start doing that work, and you can start actually improving your life and transforming your life, because there is a reality here that as difficult as this time has been, it's been an enormous gift to many people to discover many, many things that they just simply would not have done without this situation. So that's the 15%. And I'll just add to it by saying that, in fact, when the last epidemic of the SARS breakout happened, there was also some research done which showed that, people were really struggling because of it. And a lot of people over a certain age group, over 60 in fact, were taking their own lives. And they were very shocked by that whole situation. And that was as much as 30%. So we know that these kind of world epidemics and world pandemic like we're in now, they have an impact on our psychological state. And there are people out there that can help you with that, So if you are one of those vulnerable people, please take responsibility for it and know that there's help for you and you don't have to do it alone. And of course, if you hear this message, you also know that it's normal to feel stressed out and to be feeling like you're boxed in and you're not yourself, normally. But if it's going on too long and you're not adjusting, then it's great to actually get some help. You don't need to be one of those statistics.
Yeah, that's really important advice. And it's important for the people to talk about it, because I know some people that is struggling, but they don't want to talk about it. Because it's like,
exactly.
I don't want to say it. It's important when you have a problem to talk. And at least when you put it out, then actually it helps you.
Yeah, and maybe it's not something you want to talk to anybody about. So if you prefer a professional where there's confidentiality, try that. Go online. There's so many places. You can reach out to me. I'll help you find someone. If you find someone you really respect, I'm sure if you look, someone you admire and really respect is not going to think you funny when you share something intimate and personal like this. You could just simply say, I'm really struggling right now and I need some help. That's a good way to start a conversation with anybody that you trust. Don't do it with someone that you're suspicious of or you think doesn't accept you. It's not the right thing for everyone to help us emotionally, but people that we respect, I think it's good to do that. And of course, there are some warning signs. So if you're getting aggressive, if you're very sad, if you can't get out of bed, if you're not eating, if you're eating too much, if you feel very frightened, if you're not sleeping well at night, or if you are hyper stimulating yourself. This is a new thing. If you're online a lot, right, and you're continuously online and you don't feel comfortable without being online, that's also a sign of being what we call hyperstimulated, which is an effect of being hyper anxious. Yeah. So if you have those signs, if you're harming anybody around you, or if you're shouting at people, or if you're even being very vicious or aggressive or critical towards yourself, these are all signs, and I would love you to get some help.
Yeah, thank you for the advice. I tell you, thank you for the people that is listening because I think it's really important. And going to
Yeah.
another question, what is the secret of hydration? Because it's
You
really
know, a lot of
important.
times, yeah, a lot of times people talk about this last year as a kind of crisis, you know. And when we are in whatever kind of situation is similar to the one we've just been through, I think we would all agree that it's nothing like the situation we were just all in. There's been nothing like this on the planet before. You know, even what I just mentioned, the SARS epidemic was an epidemic. This has been a pandemic.
Mhm.
And so what we're seeing now is a critical time where a lot of people have gone into crisis, maybe for financial reasons, maybe for what we said before, life work balance has gone a little bit wobbly. Parents are at home with kids. There's been a lot of stress on women at home. And we know that the brain is one of the most powerful organs in the body. It actually sits in a body of water. It's the heaviest organ of the body, and it uses the most amount of water. So whenever your brain is stressed, you need more water. So my suggestion to everybody is if you are tired, and if you are tired specifically throughout the day, you want to try and have 1 liter of water before you brush your teeth. That means you have a liter of water sitting next to your bed so that when you wake up, the first thing you do is you drink water. And then you keep drinking on it until you brush your teeth. So I know a lot of people, come on, you can admit it, everybody. I'm sure even you, Gemma, even me, you pick up
Oh,
your
I drink
phone
a
before you
lot.
do anything. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
drink a
But then you
lot.
pick up,
It's too much.
but
I
what's
have
the first
look,
thing you pick
one
up?
bottle, another bottle.
Excellent.
Plenty of
Excellent.
water.
Me too. Me too. I also drink a lot. But what's the first thing you pick up in the morning?
Yeah, it's my phone.
So before our phone, we pick up the water, we drink from the water, and then we pick up our phone. Okay, so let's make a deal, everybody. We're going to try and do this, especially if you're tired. And then let's say you're not so
Okay,
tired through the
let's
day.
try.
You can still just drink the water, but it doesn't matter that you drink it first thing in the morning. That's a very big suggestion for people that are very tired. It really does wonders. It changes the entire way that your body starts to operate and work. And then, of course, when you're drinking water and hydrating yourself, it's useful to do that when you are in front of electrical devices. So if you're in front of a computer a lot of the day, like a lot of us are, having water nearby is priceless. So try and move a water tank near where you sit. Try to have a preparation the night before of water on supply. You know, some people like to have filtered water. Some people bless their water. Some people pray over the water. Some people do ceremonies with holy water. Whatever it is, try to honor the water that you have and make sure you're using it to hydrate yourself, and try and make sure that you have a conscious shower every day. And by that I mean that you also hydrate your skin, because your skin is your kidneys. Your kidneys are detoxing your body. The food you eat, the water you drink is helping you to get rid of things you no longer need. When you're very stressed, when you're under a lot of strain, when you're in a critical condition or in a crisis, you need to remember to hydrate, and more than normal, because you are actually spending a lot more energy just invisibly because you're stressed out, and your body is not in its optimal state. So you're using a lot more emotional resources. One quick way to fix that is lots more water.
I drink a lot. I don't know if it's because I'm
Lovely.
stressed or why, but I drink a lot. I always have two
Wonderful.
bottles with me and my glass. And I think I
Excellent.
have to fill it because
Excellent.
yeah, I need it. I'm used to it.
It makes a big difference. I think it's a very important quality, and unfortunately, we don't have easy access to healthy water all the time anymore. And I really wish there are going to be some millennials, change makers, change leaders out there, if you're listening, that are going to help us fix that problem, because this is an incredible planet and we can fix it. We just need the right intention. And look at water supply, you know, and all climate change issues, all these sustainable development goals we've got going on. We know we have to start working seriously on them so we can restore the quality of water and food on our planet. And once we do that, you know, we can also, you know, look at more filtration systems and become more responsible about how we create a good water supply, because we all need it, and our life is nourished by water. Everything we do requires water. So we certainly need to to keep thinking about ways of purifying our water supply as well. Yeah.
Great. And now to close the talk today, I would like to ask you as a psychologist, what can you tell us about happiness?
Oh, I love this question.
It's nice
So
question
many
to close.
So many things, and it's also very, very simple. But I'm going to say a few more things then, very, very simple. But I think we all are craving happiness. We all search for happiness in our lives all the time. But I think one of the best secrets that I discovered about happiness, and this came from a lot of my spiritual practice, let's say, and listening to very, I would say, developed people talk about life over the years, is that happiness is there in every single moment. And when we stop looking for it outside or in some kind of future time, and I think this last year has really taught us some of that, we begin to see that happiness can exist in the smallest moment. And so my advice to everybody, and I will give you more technical tips as well, because there's some amazing Harvard research on happiness that I want to share too. But one of my suggestions would be to challenge yourself to see if you can find the happiness in every single minute. If you had that as your intention every day and nothing else, let's say you were not so interested in success, you weren't going to try and make all your deadlines, you weren't like going to have to prove that you're worth X, Y, and Z to your boyfriend or to your husband or to your boss or to your father or whoever. Let's just say that instead of all of that, you decided, I want to find true happiness every single minute. Your whole level of attention would change, because then you ask yourself in every moment, what's going to make me really happy right now? And it's not always sitting on the couch watching Netflix. I promise you that. There will come a time where you will realize, and I think we have, haven't we? That staying at home, isn't that cool? And actually, I want to go out. I want to work.
I want
I want
meetings
to
with
play.
people,
I
with
want to
real
see my
people.
friends. Yeah, I want to see real people. I don't just want to be on my device. I mean, can you imagine the teenagers started saying that? So what I want to suggest is that you actually also respect that, because there's a very powerful, amazing truth about life, and that it's a gift. Every single second that we breathe, we've seen people lose their breath during this time, is a gift. And if you can find the treasure in this present moment, whatever it might be, it could be that you're eating a nice strawberry. It could be that, your computer is running really well after you did a good clean. It could be that, you got the really nice bread that you always like to get, and it just was freshly baked today. Remember what I said about the gratefulness and appreciation. And then I'll tell you one more thing. Coming off devices 30 minutes before you go to bed, actually using your bedtime as a time to go into a higher appreciation of your day is actually a Harvard research quality that changed people's level of happiness. Together with a gratitude journal, what we just discussed, and random acts of kindness. What do I mean? If you start to think every week on a Sunday night, maybe 3 things you'd like to do this week that just are random acts of kindness, you'll start to see that maybe writing an email to someone that you met at high school that you forgot about, but that really inspired you to study what you study now, is a very powerful random act of kindness that switches your life into a different kind of mode. And it's been shown through research that doing these 3 things, there's a few more, but I think for now we'll stay with these 3 things. There's 2 more which we know about: exercise and being able to also be in contact with nature is the 4th and the 5th. But the 3 ones that I think we struggle with are to make sure that we have a very sacred bedtime ritual, that we're not on our phones before we go to sleep, because it changes your whole electrical circuit in your body, and you want to actually use that rather to rest. The second one, as I said, is to really be present and mindful of how grateful you are. So the gratefulness, very, very important. It changes the way the brain is perceiving reality. And the third one, as I just said now, is random acts of kindness. Who can you go and thank? Who can you help across the road? Who can you park your car a little differently for? How can you adjust something you do during the week to accommodate someone else that really is struggling to pick up their kids on time, or whatever it might be? Those are very important things. So as psychologists, we know that happiness is not something you're fetching from the future. It's something that you have to choose in many different moments. It's also about what you think, what you feel, what you do. And here you have a little guideline of random acts of kindness, staying connected to gratitude, and making sure that you have a sacred bedtime ritual and you're finding the happiness in every single moment.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a really nice advice. Let's practice this week, and the next week and the next week talk, we can start, before we start talking next week is going to be about personal branding. But what do you think about we can use the first minutes to practice what you say now, to say how it goes for 1 week.
Excellent idea. And I think we can all tune back in next Wednesday and we can all think about what we learned every time, because this time we're learning about how to be more mindful of our hydration, our mental, emotional health, how to be happy, and to practice this during the week. And then next time we're going to learn something about personal branding, which is also going to be really exciting to start applying. And we can practice that and come back and also think about what we learned.
Yeah, we can do it every week. We talk about the week before and how we improve our life. Hey, that's
Exactly.
great, Eleni.
I love that. Yeah, it's been fun talking with you today. And I think it's very useful information for us to also practice. And I'm looking forward to all the things we're going to learn together from you, Gemma, when I interview you. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, likewise, Eleni. I'm so happy to do these talks. And everyone that is listening, if you want to have any, if you have any question, you can put in the comments, and we will check it not only today, but until the next week, so we can connect and we can reply to you. So,
excellent.
Thank you,
Thank
Eleni.
you so much.
Thank you, Eleni, and see you soon.
Okay, lovely. Thanks so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.